Okay, I just wanted to make a really quick, I will try to be quick, video because today, October 11th, is National Coming Out Day. So it's a pretty significant day in the gay and lesbian, bisexual, transgendered, questioning, is that all the letters? I can't remember, community. Um, so I just wanted to make a quick video to put in my little 2 cent spin on what today means to me. Um, so I came out, or I wouldn't even call it coming out. It took me a long ass time to come out. I don't really know. I know that I realized I had developed feelings for a girl when right around the time I just turned 21, and I'm 30. Oh shoot, I just turned, how old am I? I don't know. 33? Oh my god, I'm so old. 33. So the whole process began for me, the autumn of 2000, when I was a senior at Simmons College in Boston. And I realized that I felt weird around this one specific person, and she happened to be a girl, and I couldn't quite get what was going on, pretty much. And she was there for my birthday celebration, which was September 6th, and she bought me my first legal alcoholic beverage, which was a Corona Extra with lime, and I just remember feeling like, she sat next to me, and I kept trying to sit closer to her, which I was doing subconsciously because she told me, fast forward like 9 months after that, she told me that's when she knew I had a crush on her, or I had feelings for her, or something was different, because she said we were sitting in a booth, like a long booth at California Pizza Kitchen, and I think I just ended up sitting all the way at the end, right? And then she was sitting next to me, and then like whoever, there are a bunch of people. I think I went with 8 people for dinner, and she said she kept trying to move over to give me more room to sit down, and then I would keep getting closer to her instead. So, anyway, it's a pretty charming story right now. Back that I still remember how I felt. I could, in my mind, the scenes were playing. I remember doing that, and it's whatever. Anyway, that's besides the point. The point that I want to make is that um, I hope that that this day, for me, it's an important day to remember. Um, every year that passes, like, I didn't realize it's been this long since I've been supposed like out of the closet. So when I was 21 and now I'm 33, but I haven't really been able to fully embrace it until like as recently, seriously, as last year. Like I was still beating myself over it and having internalized homophobia, and just not talking about that part of my life, or just kind of cutting it out like it's a tumor, like literally like dissecting it out of my life and just not talking about it like it's not there. And I got to do that more and to more, as opposed to, thinking that when I moved out here to California 8 years ago, it would make me feel free enough and comfortable enough to embrace who I am completely. And I still wasn't. I mean, for the sheer fact that I hadn't gone into West Hollywood until last year, really. You know, so it's been a long process for me. It's still happening. I still have moments where I question, like, is it safe for me to come out, or do I feel comfortable doing this, or should I say that like, people will ask me, like, because I started a new job. So people will just ask me, oh, are you dating anybody? And I'll say no. And they'll just be like, oh, well, we need to find you a boyfriend. And it's just part of the culture of where I work. Like, we're all Filipino, and they kind of see me as, like, their daughter. I'm young enough to be most of their daughters, and so they said, oh, you're so nice and sweet, and they list whatever reason. Oh, you shouldn't be single. Like, we need to find you somebody. We need to set you up. So it's like moments like that where I have to stop and think, like, is it safe for me to come out here? Like, can I tell them? Will I feel comfortable? Will I feel weird? Will I be looked at funny? You know, like, and I do. I know I live in Hollywood. I live in Los Angeles area, and like, it's pretty commonplace here, but I work with, like I said, older Filipino women who, if I think about it in the way that they could be my mother is a very religious person. I don't know where people stand. I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. I don't want to make me feel uncomfortable. So the point I'm trying to make is, like, kind of every day is coming out day, seriously. Because as a gay woman, you need to figure out, can I tell these people? Do they know that I'm gay? It took a long time for me to understand that being gay is just another piece of who I am. I read online today, somebody made a very valid point, like, in the whole process, like, just think of it as another, if you think of a pie, it's just another piece of you. It's not all of you, it's just another part of who you are, you know? And it took a long time for me to understand that, because when all this happened, it's like I felt like I had a capital, like, G or L, like lesbian, or G in my forehead, or like a scarlet letter that I was wearing that everybody now knew. And that's not true, pretty much. For the most part, when I tell people sometimes, like the other night at work, I felt comfortable telling one person that I was gay because I found out that her stepdaughter is gay and in a relationship. So then I automatically was like, she talked about her, so I was like, actually, I said, that's wonderful. Your daughter's in a relationship. How long have they been together? And she's like, oh, 7 years. I'm like, oh wow, that's a really long time. And apparently her stepdaughter is only really young. Like they've been together since they were 17 and she's 24. So I was really excited for her. And then I said something like, oh, I hope to find that someday or whatever. And then she's like, oh, I didn't know that you were. And I was like, that's usually the reaction I get. Most people are like, oh, I didn't know that you were. Because I guess I don't fit the typical, prototypical stereotypes. I'm kind of in between the butch and femme, like right smack in the middle. There's some things that I do that make me act butch. The other stuff I do that makes me look like more femme. So I'm right in the middle. It's kind of hard to tell, I guess. And I can talk to boys. I have no problem talking to boys. Usually, I'm a very social, flirty kind of person. I can strike up a conversation with anybody. So, I just wanted to make the point that, today is National Coming Out Day, but it feels like every day is for us, and we need to pick and choose our battles and decide who we feel open enough to tell, and decide if it's safe for us to do so. So, I just wanted to put in my 2 cents and say, for everybody who, is in the process of it, or is questioning their sexuality, or whether you're at the beginning or the end of this whole process, just have patience with yourself and, you know, just take it one step at a time. I know that it can seem super overwhelming, and it is overwhelming, and it's a very difficult thing to do. It's hard to understand when you think you know yourself pretty well for your whole life, and then one thing happens, and then you completely don't understand what's going on. And it felt like that for me for a really long time. I felt like I was in a fog, and I didn't quite know where I was going. And I was so overwhelmed, and I was so scared, and I mean, I still remember those feelings don't leave. Like, you don't forget the process. You don't forget how you felt. And I think that this community is awesome and embraces once you figure it out, there's a family waiting for you to welcome you if yours doesn't accept you. Like your biological family is what I mean. I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky. Can say honestly that I have not had a single person in my life tell me that they don't want me to be a part of their life because I'm gay. All the friends I've told support me. All my family members I've told support me. My coworkers support me. So I've been very blessed in my life, and it's not gonna affect me financially or my safety or all of those things. I'm very privileged and blessed and lucky to have been in this position because I know that in lots of countries it's not that way, that people can get killed for saying that they're gay. People can, be raped or horrible things can happen to them if they're gay. So I just want to say to those people who are just at the beginning of this journey, you know, just stay strong and have courage and do what's right for you at the time. Don't This isn't, that there's an adage, obviously, like life is not a race, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so this is something that you're figuring out for yourself, and don't get hung up on the labels of whatever it is. I think that's part of this culture in this country where you feel like you need a label to define yourself. Don't worry about the label, okay? You love who you love, and if you're a guy and you find out you fall in love with a boy, then great. If you're a girl, you find out you fall in love with a girl, great. If you're a girl that finds out you fall in love with a boy, or a boy who falls in love with a girl, awesome. All the different versions that you can do, okay? It's taken me forever to understand that love is love, no matter what it is, no matter who it is, really. You know, for the longest time, I kept praying to God to make me straight. I kept praying to God to find the right boy that would make me straight. I prayed for that for so long until I finally realized it's not going to happen. He, Instead of finding the right boy, I kept getting crushes on girls. So, this is coming up on 10 minutes now, and I don't want to keep talking and talking and talking. So, in summary, in honor of National Coming Out Day, I just want to say to those who are at the beginning of this journey to have patience with yourself, to love yourself. You're the same person you were 2 seconds ago before you had this realization about yourself, okay? You are the exact same person. Just realize that. You know, it took me a long time to understand that, peace. Like, I mean, yes, it changes some things, but fundamentally, you're still the same person. And I think that will also help you when you have to tell people, like, that's just something you have to remind them. I'm the same person I was 2 seconds ago before I told you that I'm whatever you want to say. You're gay, you're bi, you're transgender, you're pansexual, whatever it is. You are the same person that you were before they heard this news. Remind them that. Remind yourself that. And so just have courage and be strong and know that, people are out here who support you and who love you for who you are, even when you don't love yourself for being gay or whatever. There are people who will support you when you don't want to support yourself. And you just have to just reach out and find them, and I know it's a scary process, and it's just like you just don't think you're going to come out of the end of it a whole person, or it's like you feel like it's the worst day ever in your life when you have that realization. I remember when I had it and I freaked out, and the whole day I was a mess because that's all you could think about, right? I mean, you're a mess and you just think like, this is the worst day of my life. I can't even handle this. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I mean, I went into a severe depression over this, and it got so bad where I contemplated suicide, that it was so bad, and it wasn't, the thing is that it wasn't anybody else, it was all how I was feeling about myself, and how negative I was feeling, and it's very powerful, those feelings that you can have. And so I'm trying to encourage people, you know, to trust that it really does get better. I know that that might be becoming an old adage now, especially in our community. It does get better, but I think that it people need to hear it, and that it does. You know, there's one of the songs that I'm in love with, or one of my favorite performances from Glee is um shoot, the Florence and the Machine song that they covered, "Shake It Out," and I feel like that's very appropriate. Like, you feel like that's how I felt, at least when I finally accepted myself. Like, I just have to get this monkey off my back and just shake it off, and like fully embrace and love myself and accept myself, that I am gay, and it's great. It's not a negative thing, and I feel like that's huge considering coming from my culture. I'm Filipino and I'm Catholic, and there's a lot of stuff embedded, and I'm first generation born in here, so I'm a Filipino American. So there's a whole shit mess going on. Like, my friend uses the word clusterfuck. That's exactly how I felt. Like, clusterfuck everywhere. Like, I was a fucking mess trying to figure out the traditional side of being Filipino, but also I was born in this country, so I'm American. On top of that, I was raised Catholic, strict Catholic. So there's all these little competing things for you, and the way that you learn and the way you've thought about it, and you have to kind of reinvent or rewire your thinking to make it fit your life. So I just want to say, be strong, have courage, and just just take little steps and be happy in the little victories that happen. You know, another horrible adage you hear all the day is Rome wasn't built in a day, and that's completely true. You will not get from all the stages of grieving. Like, I felt like I had to grieve over the loss of, like, the straightness of my life and how things would have to be from now on. You really do go through like some kind of grieving process, and I feel like you can't get there within like an hour or a day. It takes time. So it might seem like it's never going to end and it's horrible, but I encourage you, just it's not. It will get better, I promise. So happy National Coming Out Day. And that's it. Peace out, homies. Take care. Bye.